to Anthony Adedeji. Yes, we love you to please, my brother. Yes, sir. But yesterday night, it was another edition of the Niger Voices. And don't tell you, oh, there's a bit as review. There's a teaser. So that next week, we don't miss out on that program. Yummy, over to you.
Yesterday was a very fantastic day because we were able to look into what the president said during his engagement. He has said much as well. We're going to be telling you much of what he has said, especially as the president continued to work with Nigerians in diaspora in New York. So the focus was to allow Nigerians and the indigenous people to listen to the president's speech that lasted for 19 minutes, 23 seconds. And part of what was discussed focused around the expectation, the first outing of the president. It talked about the global institution, job creation. The president talked about we must create enough jobs for many Nigerians at home. It went further to talk about the economy our people desire. What kind of economy do we want as Nigerians, as Africans? Again, the question is how much of the world is ready to work with Nigeria? It talked about democratic governance. I'm going to be telling you what, Femi Adesina, like you talked about, the regret of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. So the question is, how come they regret after they've served Nigerians for 8 years? We hope that this same president will not be coming out with some of his spokesperson telling us the regret when they have the time to turn things around. He also talked about the demands for solution. What kind of solution are we looking for? All these were packed up on the Niger Voices yesterday. He talked about, the Sahel, as many Nigerians are now traveling out of Nigeria, to have a better life. The question is telling Nigerians to return back home. This is going to be part of the discussion this morning. The question is how many Nigerians are ready to return back to Nigeria at this particular time is the question again that we're going to be looking into. It talked about there are some criminals within the local that are working with the foreign entities. How do we stop these foreign criminals from working with the locals? He also talked about the negotiating with the military junta, and is also sending out friends of is also sending out hands of friendship. But the most part of the one that I think most of the campaigners of the right to self-determination, the indigenous people, will be, the will of the people must be respected. The question is, will this present administration respect the will of the people? Because we saw that after the former president Muhammadu Buhari left office, we now realize that he was also sponsoring the Ebube that was destroying, part of the southeast. And already there's a lot of atrocity going on in Imo State where businesses were burnt down. And that is coming from the military, doing the same thing that Buhari was doing while he's in government. So many questions and all these were answered at that program yesterday. If you've missed it, you might want to go back and watch that again. Now, let's come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listeners, so that is for your information. If you missed out on the Niger Voices, just go to Starr Radio UK website, or the Facebook, or the YouTube, or Twitter, or X. Yeah, Twitter is now X. Yeah, just go there and just go rate, listen, or watch it. Adesanya, good morning to you. It's a good morning, Starr Radio UK. It's a good morning to you as well. We hope that you are doing very, very well. We thank God for you as well. All right, listeners, we're working on our London series. I'm actually here in the south, and we are bringing updates from Nigeria. Now, first of all, let's come to the statement that the former president has made. Let me bring you just a bit of it before. He said the former special advisor on media and publicity to President Muhammadu Buhari, Femi Adesina, has confessed that the ex-president expressed regrets on some of the decisions he took while in office. Adesina made the assertion while speaking at a program tagged Media Dialogue with Femi Adesina. Now, Yomi is going to be telling us more about that. Before we left office, I sat with him, that is Buhari, for about 2 hours, and I asked him every question under the sun. There was no question I didn't ask. There were things he could have been done better, additional said. But before sort of maybe naming them, let me have a sneak view of whatever was discussed in the background. But it's saying here, or it's said, that hindsight is quite an interesting one. So if you were making a book, you weren't very sure how the impact of it all is going to be, but he's saying that he regretted some. Nigeria is saying that Nigeria is the most criminal state in the world. Hashtag Yoruba Nation. Thank you very much. I'll let your comments come through.
Well, it seems as usual when the government leaves, those that worked with that government, in different parts will want to say something. And what we can now confirm is that, yes, additional was having this program actually yesterday in southwest of Nigeria, Oshogbo, when it was brought in by Veteran Association of Journalists in Osun State. And the tag was Media Dialogue with Femi Adesina. I mean, everybody would love to have him. We would love to have him as well on our program to come and tell us what questions that are burning many Nigerians. But it seems that those questions he was able to ask the former president in a 2-hour chat. He did not reveal everything that was discussed, but he said that during that interview, they talked about the redesign of the money that actually stopped kidnapping. He also talked about how he could not have enough to fill his gas. The gas was about 40,000 naira. He had 20,000 naira with him. Even though as a special advisor to the president, he doesn't have naira. So he was actually impacted as well with the naira redesign. He also said that the president, talked about certain things that he would have done differently, but those things were not revealed from additional. He also went on further to say that we lost 8 governors that were trying to get into the Senate seat. That has never happened. He actually said that the redesign of the naira was the reason for that. So that literally means that most of those that wanted to get into the Senate position could not do so because there was not enough naira to distribute to Nigerians, as they normally do every 4 years and bribe Nigerians. Then he said Buhari served the country diligently. Nothing that inadequacies in the way he governed could not be entirely blamed on him. So that again, the former president is literally not saying that he hasn't done well, but please do not blame everything on me. The question is, who do we blame? The issues that was, enraging in Nigeria. When Buhari came in, the dollar, was just, when you look at the dollar and the naira, it was just equivalent to 250 naira to the dollar. But today, we're talking about 1,000 naira to the dollar, which is again has collapsed the economy and other areas as well. But Adesina even went there to say that somebody was kidnapped during the redesign of the naira policy of Emefiele and his government, and that literally allowed the kidnapper to set free somebody by just giving them 3 slaps because nobody was going to bring any money. Well, I'm not sure whether that was true or false, but what we can say is that we saw that evidence that during the naira redesign, kidnappers were also asking for the new redesigned naira as against the old one as well. It talked about the 9 serving governors couldn't go to the Senate, that they contested, but they lost. Have you ever seen a governor contest an election and not win? But because there was no money to spread around, they couldn't win. All this was discussed, but the question he never tell us was, he never told us was where Igboho was attacked. What was the reason behind that? What was the reason why the El Zakizaki movement, was a lot of them were killed. He lost his children, and the most important as well, while the kidnap of Nnamdi Kanu, maybe all these were discussed. He's still putting them under the wrap for his own biography later on.
Well, is he or is he not? But interestingly, he's making the case that Buhari says that he did well. But the question is, he said, I think that we cannot blame him for. But the buck stops with him. That's why he was voted into power. And one of the things that he said pertaining to the Naira redesigning, where he said that it's nine governors lost their seats because of that. And you look at that and you see that blatantly saying that, well, we go about our campaign bribing people to vote for us, and we didn't have the money to bribe the people. Therefore, so you ask yourself, are they really there to serve us?
Well, let's go back to what the former president Obasanjo said last week. Buhari spent recklessly, lack understanding of economy. Remember that, it's all about the economy. I've told you that, we expected, when Buhari said that the dollar and naira will be 1-to-1, but we didn't realize that it was actually not going to be what he said. He also mentioned something that, the former president, through Garba Shehu, told us that the reason why the first subsidy was not implemented was because they are a little bit worried and concerned that Tinubu might lost that election if that policy came on board. But today, it seems that that policy is the same thing that Tinubu is telling the United Nations, and as he was at the stock exchange yesterday in America, but Tinubu is also advising many Nigerians that there is so much opportunity and it is time for you all to come back home. I once lived in the United States. Opportunities are born, but return home. Tinubu is telling Nigerians at the diaspora engagement in New York yesterday. Whether those that are campaigning for the APC all over the world are ready to return, or they are probably still waiting to see whether this economy will go in the right direction. I'm not sure anyone wants to leave their good jobs or the good opportunity that they have outside Nigeria when there are so many millions of Nigerians that wants to japa.
Interesting, because I'm looking at the insecurity issue there. You don't go out, you're not sure whether you're going to be coming with peaceful, whether you be kidnapped or not. And they have, in addition, are saying, oh, you know what, the designing of the Naira impacted kidnapping, negatively. So there were no kidnapping. He's talking about somebody being given 3 slaps. Listen to some things and you ask yourself, what planet are they actually living on?
Well, he also said he doesn't have enough up to 40,000 naira. You wonder that, I know most of that is a complete blunt lies, because many politicians in Nigeria and those that are also not politicians move with a lot of money stuck in their house. So for Femi Adesina to say that he wanted to fill up his gas while they were cooking, the gas finished and he didn't have 40,000 naira, to fill the gas as a special aid to the president, I'll leave that for Nigerians to decide whether that is a fact or friction.
Well, as we are saying. But again, the president calling on Nigerians to come home. I'm asking, have they created a conducive environment for people to come back home? Okay? We are here. And some of you, we would love to go to Nigeria. We would love to go and invest there. But are the environment conducive for us to take our money and take our family, or even leave the family here and say that we are going, and then 3 years' time, once everything is settled, then we can let them come. Are the environment conducive for that at all? Don't we do so?
It's easy. It's easier said than done. I remember Buhari said this as much of these. I was able to see the former president in the UK. When he was making his campaign. But this time around, it's no longer a campaign. Bola Tinubu is the current president. And United States, yesterday at New York, President Bola Tinubu has now encouraged Nigerians in the US to rise above failure by changing their mindset for success in all their endeavors. He also went further to say that, he gave the advice at the town hall meeting with Nigerians in diaspora on Wednesday. I want to give you a measure that will resonate with you. I was once a diaspora, which is still being challenged, because we know that being a diaspora as a study in America, his certificate is still being challenged by Atiku as we speak right now. And I think that the result is meant to come out today, but I think that might be on Monday next week. I want to give you a measure that will resonate with you. I was once a diaspora. What you have been through, I have been through it. A change of mindset is necessary. Take it this night that Nigeria is home for business opportunities, stated the president. Nobody is arguing that Nigeria is not a good place for business, but the question is, what kind of policy is this government going to put in place? What kind of measures, security, what kind of conducive environment that will change the mindset of those at home? Because we've realized that many of those Nigerians at home as well now have a different mindset. So maybe Mr. Tinubu stated that also anywhere you stay, there's always going to be an opportunity in. And everything you do, there's always going to be opportunity if you know how to search and put your mind into it. Well, Mr. Wolabi Benga had his mind in Nigeria, had a better opportunity by setting up a quick business that would have supported the community. Guess what? He was killed returning from Maryland in Oshogbo after paying a whooping 13 million naira. His body was returned to Maryland. So I'm not sure whether the family listening to the president in America, or maybe the president will have requested to see such family. Let's take you back to 2018. A mother, a daughter, and a father returned to Nigeria probably for holiday, I don't know. But what we can confirm is for 6 days they were kidnapped in 2018. A whooping sum of 5 million to 8 million was paid after the mother sacrificed herself from allowing the daughter and the husband to be raped. She decided to leave herself as a lamb for the terrorists to rape her. After 6 days, money was paid. They returned back to US today. The question is, yes, the opportunity is there. We have the population, but is the right policy in place, as the president is advising many Nigerians to return back home? And that would probably mean that those that are planning to travel should remain in Nigeria.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 11:26. Updates from Nigeria. This is your live with KOIKIMEDIA. I know we have a few other stories coming your way. But Army has strategies to end security challenges. That's what the COAS is saying. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taure Lagbaja, yesterday reiterated the commitment of the Nigerian Army in tackling the security challenges currently facing the country. He, however, sought symbiotic relationship between the military and the media to enhance internal security operations in the country. The COS said that during the Nigerian Army Civil Military Corporation quarterly media chat held at the office's mess Agodi in Ibadan. Now, it is quite interesting. A lot of people who come making lots of promises, and I know those who also are the politicians. So for me to have the COS himself sitting there and making all these statements, I'm thinking that he needs to get on the job. But somebody will say that, well, he needs to let people know what they are up to. But I'm thinking that he needs to get on the job and actually reassure. Is it a reassuring message to Nigerians as a whole?
Well, when you have the new sheriff in town, they're planning to do things in different ways. I think, action will speak louder than words is what a lot of us will expect. As much as all these rhetorics are very good, presentation on the paper, many Nigerians want to see that they can travel from point A to B without being kidnapped. Many Nigerians want to see crime to be solved as quickly as possible. Many Nigerians want to see their state, free from terrorism, as many are being terrorized on a daily basis. Even within, the community, there are people that are also known to be working with the politicians that could also terrorize you as well. The question is, the new Chief of Army Staff has a lot of work to do as against the previous ones, Buratai, and the ones that were there that couldn't perform to the task ahead. But again, the President Bola Tinubu believes in his new security architect to bring the unity, because the president also talked about, profiling. We should stop profiling each other, that we are one family member, and this again would determine whether, if those in the southeast are all profiled as Biafrans and businesses are burnt down, just as we saw villages being destroyed and genocide is taking place. The question is, what difference is this military architect is going to do that will not make Nigerians think that it's all about the profiling? Because the president said again, Igbos, Yorubas, and other tribes, one family. Nigerians should stop ethnic profiling.
Okay, Nigerians should stop ethnic profiling, but what are the authorities doing? They should start it, and then everybody will follow it. Like when people are being marginalized, when somebody who is standing up for his people because of marginalization, his house is raided in the night, and eventually they want to kill the person, and the person has to flee for his life, then you ask yourself, when do we say we are all one? If Is it when the leadership want to get everybody on board? Or maybe the new sheriff in town might do something different from what the others have done. Listeners, it's Starr Radio UK.
It looks like somebody wants to remind the president, from one of the quote of the late Obafemi Awolowo, Nigeria is not a nation. It is a mere geographical expression. They are not Nigerians in the same sense as they are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigeria is a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria and those who do not.
Well, somebody say geographical area put together for their own interests. But listeners, it's Starr Radio UK 11:31. I'll go back to you for the rest of the stories.
Well, it seems that the APC might be rejoicing quickly in Kano State as the Election Petition Tribunal has come out and said that the current governor must now come out and return the certificate to the APC tribunal. And the APC chairman Ganduje says Tinubu is letting the judiciary flourish and is now urging peace in Kano. As yesterday the news was filtered out, we assure businesses community that our new government, if we come in under our able Dr. Yusuf Gawuna, businesses will flourish in Kano. Remember that the Kano State is a state that has been in the news after the Ganduje lost the governorship to his own party, to NMPP. But it seems now that if things are going to turn around, all the damage that the governor that came in have done, what is going to happen? Remember, even the roundabout that had like a cross sign was destroyed. According to the APC chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje has urged the residents of Kano State to remain peaceful, assuring that their businesses will flourish, crediting President Bola Tinubu with creating an enabling environment for the judiciary to flourish. So that is coming from the headline. As we again go back again, Dapo Abiodun, the governor of Ogun State, to open a special court to try Ogun cultists. Like I said on Saturday/Sunday, it was a bloody day in Shagamu as 25 innocent youths were murdered, and that has got to do, with cultism. So it seems that the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, is now saying that we would have to establish a court that will focus on the court-related cases. Abiodun spoke after a joint security meeting that was held in the state at the governor's office in Abeokuta yesterday. He said the Ogun State government would also set up a joint anti-cultism security task force comprising all the major security outfits with the mandate to rid the state of the menace of cultism. The governor said that the state was also proposing an amnesty program for cultists who might wish to renounce their cultism and surrender their weapons. The question is, what is actually pushing a secondary school children into cultism? We know this used to be within the university and polytechnic, but it seems that 3 innocent secondary school children were murdered on Saturday at Shagamu. Again, death due to road crashes in Nigeria is down by 15.5% according to the FRSC. Once again, people can't afford to travel as before because of the high cost of petrol and bad roads. So fewer travelers, less accident. This is coming from a comment from one of the those that actually responding to that particular article. We are making progress, except that FRSC is lying to us. But I believe them is also the responder as well. Let's take 1 or 2, 3 more, and then we're going to go straight into what is happening on the social media. Once again, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Atiku's election petition outweighed Bola Tinubu's privacy right because of Nigerian president submit unclear certificate to INEC. This is actually coming from the U.S. judge. Judge Jeffrey Gilbert of the United States District Court of the Northern District of Illinois on Tuesday said President Bola Tinubu weakened his education privacy right when he submitted a contentious certificate to run for office in 2022. The judge said that they need to confirm the genuineness or otherwise of the certificate that Mr. Tinubu submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Nigerian opposition leader Atiku Abubakar has sought to obtain Mr. Tinubu's academic record following inconsistencies they characterize the submission Mr. Tinubu certified under oath to Nigerian Electoral Office. So like I said, we're expecting that to have happened today, but between the two parties, they've agreed that by Monday, that certificate needs to be coming into the public domain. So we would then be able to confirm so many things that many have confirmed. Either Tinubu was attending that Chicago University as a male or female, or it was just that some kind of a discrepancy of Oluwole certificate, like we will call it, has been done. But again, we will have to wait on Monday to be able to confirm that. Again, the Kano current governor have rejected the tribunal judgment, sacking him, and he has actually promised to appeal such as well. Humans have opened gates to hell, says the United Nations General Secretary. Well, as many Nigerians believe that Nigeria itself is hellfire because of so many things that is happening there. Maybe that is where the United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres have picked that up. Let's look at that as we say. Mr. Guterres said this on Wednesday. Let's go back again to that. United Nations General Secretary General rather, Antonio Guterres says humanity has opened the gate to hell with extreme weather having horrendous effect on the global population. He actually said this on Wednesday as the broad global coalition of movers and doers, politicians, businesses, and civil society have gathered at the New York for the first ever Climate Ambition Summit. The summit will be held later on today. We know that President Bola Tinubu will also be attending the meeting. In his address on the sideline of the UN General Assembly to politicians, businesses, activists, and civil society leaders, the UN chief issued a stark warning about the dire consequences of inaction, especially with extreme weather. We saw what happened in Libya. We saw the same, catastrophe that took place in Turkey around February. We saw the same happening in Morocco. The President Bola Tinubu also talked about climate. Africans will have to fight the climate change in our own terms and conditions. As we then move straight to the social media this morning, once again, many Nigerians that are also living here in the United Kingdom, as we always say, crime must be avoided at any interval as well. A 26-year-old Nigerian drug dealer identified as Olusegun Babalola has now been sentenced to 8 years imprisonment in United Kingdom for hiding a stash worth more than £7,000 in a box of tissue. Again, as we say, many diaspora are doing very well. Many are not involved in such crime, but when crimes happen and it's coming from a particular country, that definitely might have negative impact on every citizens of that country. We remember Hush Puppy was also picked up in Dubai after lavishing and spending so much money, only for us to find out that those were not his own wealth. These are wealth from those that have worked very hard while he was just spending those wealth. And many Nigerians wanted to have such kind of wealth without knowing where the wealth is coming from. So again, as we always say, there are so many diaspora that are working day and night, but yet the few that are also committing crimes will have a bad negative on the others as well. This is coming from Omoyele Sowore as he's responding to, again, jungle justice. Jungle justice is not something that we should condone. We should, we're not saying that crime is something that you have to go into, but whatever crime it is, you must allow the authority to take over. This is 80s era barbaric phenomenon of lynching innocent persons has returned to Nigeria. It started from Calabar about a month ago. It has now moved to Lokoja in Kogi State. The trick is accuse someone of stealing another person's manhood and impossibility. I don't know whether you had that happening in Ghana, Mr. Archie, where manhood get missing and then immediately people can be lynched and immediately you can be set on fire.
Ross. There's somebody who just touch you and then the dead person said, my manhood is missing. And then they'll just drag on the person, pick the person and lynch the person. Yeah.
And this is the reason why this is leading to this barbarism must be stopped. Now security agencies and a conscious public must rise to the occasion immediately. So another person has been burned to death. Again, the issue between Mohbad is still going on. There's a lot of videos that are surfacing. This particular video trending of Mohbad and Naira Marley in 2021. It has, some kind of, I don't know what is wrapped in the, in that particular starch there. Also, there's I don't know whether it's a real gun or it's just a toy gun, but there's two guns on the table there. And this video is already trending as well. As his body has now been exhumed from the information that we're hearing on the ground, we will then have to wait for further, investigation to the outcome of what actually led to the death of this young man in Nigeria. Again, images are just coming to me right now. President Bola Tinubu has now visited the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in his office as he's signing the book right there. So, and again, right, we'll still continue. The rally still goes on yesterday. I could see as many were rallying yesterday. But again, that is the images right there with the president and the Anthony Guterres. So we'll probably wait to see what is going to be the outcome. There was a story that came up to us from Shagamu. A Chinese worker impregnated a young woman and decided that the only thing to ask for is to sell the baby to him so that he can take the baby back to China. And the question is, how do we get to a situation like that? And we hope the authority will be looking into that. What is actually trending? David Odoye is an investigative journalist. A lot of Nigerians disagree with his views, but it seems currently is getting asylum, which has been established already from Ghana. But yesterday, he has actually released a particular video now stating that because of the work he does, not only that the Nigerian authority are trying to, lean on the Ghanaian authority that have given him these, freedom to be able to move with a refugee passport to now try to bring him back to Nigeria. This is what he said. It's a long one, but we're just going to play a little bit from that.
I am constrained to send out this public appeal to the Ghanaian government, to Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo, the Ghanaian Minister of the Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, and to the Chair of Ghana Refugee Board, Prof. Kenneth Atafua. I fled Nigeria in 2020, and I applied for asylum in Ghana in early 2021. In May 2022, I was granted refugee status in Ghana. Consequently, I was also issued a Ghanaian refugee travel document, a refugee passport, which I have subsequently used extensively to travel across Africa and around the world. Now, last month, when there was the ongoing back and forth between those who wanted to go to war within the ECOWAS bloc, those who wanted to go to war with the coup regime in Niger, and those who didn't, something happened. The Nigerian president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, made a move to deploy Nigerian special forces illegally into Nigerian territory to enforce a no-fly zone, which is a euphemism for essentially staging a military attack.
So, in the nutshell, to summarize, what he's actually saying is that just like we've seen different journalists around the world, we know that Julian Assange is still currently, here in UK as the US government is trying to extradite him back to US. All legal means are being put through. We've seen journalists being killed. Jamal Khashoggi was killed at the Saudi Arabian embassy in 2018. We've seen, journalists have been killed in Nigeria with a letter bomb in the 80s, Delegiwa, for exposing, a particular government in place, which was, the then military Babangida. We've seen that the Yati critics of the Kaduna former governor Rufai have been missing for the last 3 years. The question is, the role of journalism is a big role, but sometimes it has a lot of threat to lives as well. He's not the only one that fled in 2020. DJ Switch has already left the country as well because he was a target. But the question is, how do we protect journalists from balancing the work they do as against certain countries that might not want the kind of views from those kind of journalists? Starr Radio UK, I'll come back again to you in the studio. But he actually says that Ghana has been a very good track record in terms of, keeping people of this kind of situation, just as where, Igboho was given that kind of, leverage in Benin Republic, that after the former president, which I'm not sure why Femi Adesina doesn't tell us what happened between that time Igboho was attacked. Maybe that will come up in his book. But again, a work journalist does day and night can be very, very difficult.
Well, we know that. We know that. And that's why we say that smokers who here. And even somebody, so we can say whatever we want to say. Because you are there, you say one, you'll get what you about if you don't get lost. But we hope that the Ghanaian authorities are keeping him safe there. Yeah, under the UN this agreement is supposed to is already did and needs to be protected. But listen, let's start Radio UK. Now, there's one area that I wanted us to look at. That's cultism in Nigeria now, talking about secondary schools. And it's quite worrying because you are believing that your child that you are paying fees for to go to secondary school is there to go and study, not people coming in to actually brainwash them and get them into the cultism.
And initiate them.
How bad is the situation?
Well, the situation has literally gone worst. Not as bad. It's gone worst. I left secondary school in 1995, and I'm not sure, there was any sort of cultism within, the secondary school as at the time. Yes, we have, people that you probably say they are bad boys, bad girls, right there and there in every school there. We have them, when you go on the public buses in UK, sometimes, the behaviors of some of those children can be very, very, but again, some of them eventually come out of it. But when it comes to cultism, you are actually initiating somebody to become who they don't want to be. And the whole reason for this cultism, again, could it be poverty in Nigeria? Could it be that many of them wants to become, the star boy, the shining boys out there, in music? Could they just want to be a tough individual? We know that cultism happens within the university. And the question, Mr. Archie, some of those cultism are now not just only in Nigeria, they are now bringing it out of Nigeria. We've seen situation in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates, even here in the UK, we've had issues of people talking about, groups of Aye, Black Acts and all that. And everyone knows them. But sometimes the question is, can they operate fully like here in UK as against Nigeria, that the government is now saying that we might have to set up, a court. And again, asking for them to be able to come out because there's amnesty. Remember that amnesty was given to those during the Yaradua, those that were, destroying the pipeline. So there's nothing wrong in amnesty, but the question is, what is really behind the cultism? Is it because of the lack of well-being and welfare? As we know that many Nigerians are struggling to have 3 square meal. Again, children at secondary school, 3 of them were killed on Saturday. Like I said, these images were just too gruesome for us to show, but we pray for the families and we hope the state and the federal will get their hands on this as quickly as possible.
It's a sad blow to the families and condolences. But when it comes to spiritual things, it's difficult for you to say, I've set a court out. Now, how do you know? Because I don't come to display, or maybe even say that there's a hairstyle, a special hairstyle that if you are in this group, you have to have.
If you remember that in UK, at some point, if you put on certain trainers, if you get to another London borough, they can easily know that you are not from that borough. So it's all about, a coded words, coded messages, outfit, and that was a kind of I find it very difficult to understand that, you put on a particular trainers and then you travel to another borough and then you could easily be identified as a threat in that borough. For those of us that are probably not even into these trainers, but again, yes, this was happening in UK, where your particular trainers, if you put it on, you cannot get into a particular borough.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see. Parents, they will have to pray.
And that's why Anthony Guterres says that, it seems that the gate of hellfire has been opened on the earth.
Wow, listeners, Starr Radio UK so live because again, I'm not planning this series. I'm actually here in this house studios. It's 10 minutes to the top of the hour. Yomi has got any other thing there for us, Yomi?
Well, we just say to all our listeners and those that have joined us on the sister broadcast, thank you so much once again. We'll be back again tomorrow, but Archie will take you to the rest of the program. Like I said, we continue to pray for those that are, asking for injustice in Africa, because the injustice is getting too much. But we hope things will be sorted out in all part of that continent.
Yummy, thank you very, very much. Have a lovely day, and we'll catch up later.
Bye for now.
Listeners, that has been Solani KOIKIMEDIA updates.
All right. Yami Bisima Konjola. Is that statement when the government provide domestic allowance to him every month? More picky, man. Maybe that was what I was saying. Sad situation. I'm up later because I have to go now. But I've done a program already this morning. If you want to watch that, it was focusing on Tinubu, Femi Adesina, and the what's it called? Buhari had regret. Could have been something better. Femi Adesina ń sọ yẹn ní Òṣogbo ní àná. Tinubu sọ fáwọn tó wà ní diaspora, gbogbo ló ń bá sọ̀rọ̀, ó ní òun náà ti gbé l'Amẹ́ríkà rí anyway, so kò jẹ́ bàbàrà tá bá ń sọ pé a wà labroad ẹ máa padà bọ̀ nílé. That is what Tinubu is saying. That is what the president is actually. I don't know whether most of you will be ready to go back home. Maybe if you're thinking of going back home, I don't know. As many people have tried to go back home anyway, and they've returned back because one reason or the other, things have not really worked. Many people want to go back home, but you don't go back home where, based on what we are hearing, anyhow. I'm sure many of you will be asking, that's what I heard. I don't know. How do I want to go back home? And tẹ wá láti Kwara State, lọ set up business Kwara pẹ̀lú àwọn ràtìràtì tó ń ṣe ní ibẹ̀, kò ń ṣe gbogbo yín o, gbogbo wa là ń rí gbogbo ràtìràtì tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Kwara State. Ṣẹ́yìn máa fi abroad sílẹ̀ ẹ lọ set up business sí Kwara State, maybe Lagos State, just at least even Lagos State fún rẹ̀ náà ó sì ní tiẹ̀ lọ́wọ́. So I'm sure n tí Tinubu ń sọ yẹn bí àpò rẹ̀ ló ń sọ sí anyway, because ó ń sọ fún gbogbo yín pé kẹ́ máa padà bọ̀ nílé. I once lived in US. Opportunities abound, but return home. Tinubu tells Nigerians. Is this serious? We should come back home. Come back home that, our lives. I'll come on here, but not every one of you. But yes, Ibori Amzad now at some point, Osakuro Nigeria. Koto de Poberesi speak, the kind of language that they want him to speak. So when he says we should come back home, our mindset, because I have other things to do right now. Later. But again, as I always say, 25 years, we're grateful we're still here and we're not doing bad. 25 years today. I remember in the airport. Well, okay, when Femi Adesina said he cannot afford to buy gas, Yami, a lie. Only 20,000 naira lowo. He said he didn't have the remaining money. Oníṣòyàn kan ló wá fóun lówó pé ṣọ́ lè believe pé ẹni tó jẹ́ agbẹnusọ fún ìjọba pé kò ní 40,000 naira lọ́wọ́. Ṣé ta ló believe ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn? How can you believe such pé òun ò ní 40,000 naira lọ́wọ́? Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Lanre Lamina, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi triple DRS, Tinubu máa ti ní kẹ́ máa bọ̀ ń lékẹ̀. Ó ní kẹ́ máa bọ̀ ń lé, ó ní kẹ́ kúrò ní Woolwich, ó gbọ́n yín tẹ́ wà ní Woolwich, ó gbọ́n yín tẹ́ wà ní Peckham. Ó tẹ́ wà ní Milton Keynes, ní Birmingham, Manchester, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Canada, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Oman, ní Qatar, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní UAE. Ó ní kí gbogbo wa máa bọ̀ ń lé. Ó ní ká máa bọ̀ ń lé. Ó ní opportunity wà Nigeria. Yes, opportunity wà Nigeria lóòótọ́. Ìyẹn ni gbogbo wa ṣe fẹ́ invest síbẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀, because we saw it as an opportunity. Aziz kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ. Ó ní ká máa bọ̀ ń lé. Bàbá mi Kadosha, that is why we can't trust them. We go home, tebani misunderstanding pẹ̀lẹ́yàn ní abroad. Ẹ file any, I'm talking about business now. You can, I don't know. ó náà ti gbé l'Amẹ́ríkà. Okay, we understand all that. Àṣà mọ̀ bí chief of staff ẹ̀ mo rò pé yẹn tẹ̀lé lọ sí Amẹ́ríkà nísìn. Owó àwọn owó olówó, owó àwọn tó bá ti ṣe insurance fún ní Fẹ́mi Gbàjà. Ó dà pé ẹ mọ̀ àbẹ́ mọ̀ Fẹ́mi Gbàjà bí àmì látẹ̀rín yẹn ó jalè kúrò l'Amẹ́ríkà nìyà. Ó jalè ní ó wà lórí, kò ń ṣe pé mò ń bàjẹ́, èmi kọ́ mò ń bàjẹ́, mò ilé nǹkan wọ́n bàyàn jẹ́. Insurance money èèyàn tó bá wọn ṣe ó dẹ̀ gbé owó yẹn ó gbé sá lọ. I can't remember whether be 20-something thousand. Mo kí àwọn àwòrán Adé Beauty. Ìyá mi Bísí Mákanjọ́lá ni we will come back home to join cultists before we can have a better life. Mo understand Tinubu yìí o. Bá mi ṣe wà ń bẹ̀ fashion designer tó ránṣọ ni. Ó kọ̀ lọ síbi iṣẹ́. Ó bá sister tó fẹ́ bímọ ó bá ránṣọ pé sister mi mò ń bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ yín o. Ó wọ Lagos State Transport tó yẹ kó jẹ́ the safest. Ó wọnú ẹ̀ ó paná mọ́ ọmọ ẹ̀dẹ́ rí kú yẹn ṣá. Orí mi nìkan mọ̀ àánú mọ́tò yìí kò dẹ̀ pariwo pé já mi bọ́lẹ̀ wọ́ wèrè yìí. Wọ́n wá já sí wòwò lébùté mẹ́ta já sí wòwò síbẹ̀. Bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ kò tí ì sí justice fún. Kéèsì ẹ̀ lénìí ní sí ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe kéèsì fún lénìí. Mo kí ẹ̀ka sàn ìyá mi Wúrà Adé Beauty. Ìyá Agbémilékè ìyá dáadáa kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ. Ẹni ká máa bọ̀ ń lé. Ṣé mọ̀ pé gbogbo àwọn girama fẹ́ lọ lé tó bá lọ sick pẹ́rẹ́ because tí wọ́n bá ti ń dé age kan a máa parí ètò in just few minutes. Tí wọ́n bá dé age kan bá ṣe ẹ mọ̀ àwa gan ta jẹ́ small boys báyìí wàláì pé mi ò ní sọ̀rọ̀ ṣẹ́rí lọ ṣe blood test láàárọ̀ yìí wàláì mo san £1 mo kàn lè máa ṣe fídíò láti ibẹ̀ ni òun ló ṣe wà lọ́wọ́ mi appointment yẹn ẹ rántí pé mo lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ doctor ẹ rántí náà bí mo post ẹ̀ fún yín practical èmi máa fi ń wọ̀nyí nílùú yìí practical ni kò ń ṣe pé kinní bọ́ mo kàn lè máa ṣe fídíò bàtà ń ṣe gbogbo kinní yẹn òun ni mo lọ ṣe blood test yẹn mo tẹ̀ tí yọ òun lè lè láàárọ̀ ilé yìí lọ ṣe blood test kò dìgbà tíyàn bá sick mo ti lọ ṣe blood test nísìnyí wà láì tá láì súnmọ́ bí láì lórúkọ Jésù àtànàbí àti gbogbo tó lókàlùkù ń pè mo san £1 so that means pé appointment yẹn mo kàn walk in bí ṣe débẹ̀ báyìí wọ́n kàn ní kí n confam orúkọ mi Mr. Olayomi Koiki confirm your date of birth sit down there nígbà tí yẹn rí jacket lọ ó ní the winter is out mo ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àdèdàpara ẹni tó máa gún mi lábẹ́rẹ́ yẹn ó gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe training dáadáa kó má lọ gún mi níbi tí kò yẹ kó gún mi ó ní kí n fold ọwọ́ mi báyìí iṣẹ́ táwọn sisters wa kankan ṣe nílùú ilé yìí tó ń gbowó àwọn tó wà nílé náà fẹ́ ṣe the same thing ó dà èlò ni tó bá fẹ́ lọ ṣe blood test láàárọ̀ yìí ní Nàìjíríà ẹ fún mi ní price tí n bá wá lówó kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀ abẹ́ máa rí mi ìyá mi gbé mi lékè tí Tinubu wá ní kí n wálé ṣé ti bá dé Mercy Hospital mo kí n grandma Comfort Adélẹ́yẹ mo kí Alhaja Irat àwọn nìkan lọ sí number 10 Downing Street kò ní bàjẹ́ fún yín màmá níjọ́ Tuesday ó dà pé wọ́n mọ̀ pé àní jáde àwọn kọ̀ lọ́n tí wọ́n ní mo fi picture yẹn wọ̀nyí òun lélẹ̀ àárọ̀ yìí ni mo ti ṣe léyìí àárọ̀ yìí so kò dìgbà tíyàn bá sick èèyàn máa ṣe because àwa ti contribute sínú ìlú yìí ni mo ṣe sanwó but ìwọ tó ń bọ̀ ṣó ti gbọ́ pé owó immigration health subcharge ó ń lọ sókè gbogbo àwọn tó bá ń ṣèwé wọn nílùú yìí wọ́n máa sanwó immigration subcharge tó bá jẹ́ student nìyẹn ó máa sanwó immigration subcharge gbogbo ilẹ̀ mọ́ tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n ní 5,000 naira ní tí bá fẹ́ ṣe blood test ní Nàìjíríà I don't know ìmìgbé Nàìjíríà so the basic things health is wealth tá bá ti lálàáfíà kò sẹ́ni tó nídòwó bí wọ́n ṣe nídòwó yẹn lèmi náà nídòwó wàláì a dẹ̀ máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ ni bèbí kan mò ń rí lórí BBC láàárọ̀ yìí ó ń sunkún ni former hair hostel ni pẹ̀lú BA mo mọ tó go wrong ilé ẹ̀ nísìn mortgage kàpàtù ó lọ́mọ méjì ọkọ abroad nìyẹn Ọlọ́run kó ṣàánú wa olúkálukú ti dá wà láàárọ̀ yìí mo wá ń wo woman yẹn báyìí mo fẹ́ lè máa bá sunkún poverty wà nínú ìlú yìí àwọn màmá ẹ̀ báwa ṣe máa ń get news nìyẹn Sky News Bank of England interest rate at 5.25 after a deep inflation. International nìyẹn. Inflation ti wà nílùú yìí. So ẹ wá rò pé bá wa jókòó sílé, àjókòó sí bíbá, ẹ wá ní come back home. Ó sì better ní bíbá la ṣe wá lé ní. Níbi tí mo lọ, tẹ́ bá rí bó ṣe ń pọ́n mi lé bí president. Tí wọ́n kàkà shit down there. Fi gba nọ́ọ̀sì tó gun lábẹ́rẹ́ ní. The country is messed up. I don't know. So it's up to you guys anyway. So àwa kò ní dákẹ́ máa sọ tiwa ni. Kò mọ̀ tẹ̀ mọ́ bí tí mo ti fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ gan sẹ̀. Ìyàn kan ní bàbá mi ọlọ́run, you're right, Mr. Koiki. My sister called me this morning that they asked her to pay 30,000 naira for blood test and she has come back home because she cannot afford it. Níbo ló ti fẹ́ rí? 30,000. Ṣẹ̀rẹ́ wa táwa níta, tàbá send owó sí yín ni ó make sense. Oyin tẹ́ wà nílé, níbo lẹ ti fẹ́ rówó yẹn? Irúṣẹ́ wo lẹ fẹ́ máa ṣe? 30,000 naira is a lot of money. Òun lè ń ṣe nísìn, òun lè lè. Lóòótọ́ èmi náà ti contribute sí ìlú yìí ni mo ṣe lè wọnú bẹ̀. Ìyẹn ni prime minister wa ṣe sọ pé ẹ lọ wo fídíò tí mo ṣe sórí Park Up channel wa. Ó ní a lè afford láti tax àwọn tó wà nínú ilé mọ́. Problem yẹn máa pọ̀ lórí wa nìyẹn. Ìyẹn ló ṣe sọ pé láti on the 4th of October, ìyẹn oṣù tá a fi mú yìí tó ń bọ̀ yìí, owó visa fee, student visa ni, visiting visa ni, 2 years ni, 6 months ni, 10-year visa ni, which one tó o bá ní Ọlọ́run àjẹkọ́ fún ẹ visa. Èmi ò ń ṣe visa o, mo visa ṣe o. Torí pé reason tá a ṣe máa ń tẹnu mọ́ ni pé mọ̀yàn kan lè máa lọ bá báyàn kan sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́yìn pé Koiki náà ń ṣe visa, ẹ̀jẹ̀ bá ń ṣe visa. I don't do visa. But tó bá dé UK, èèyàn kan pè mí ní last week, wọ́n ṣàlàyé problem kékeré tán ní ìbí báyìí ló ń gbé student ni wọ́n. Èmi náà dẹ̀ ṣe kí ni àwọn tá lè rí fáwọn sí ẹ̀yẹ lọ bá wọn. Ní tí mo mọ̀ nìyẹn. But pé bó ṣe fẹ́ wọ UK, èmi ò mọ̀ bó bá ṣe wọn ni kò ṣe wọ UK, èmi I don't care. Ìyá tèmi náà ṣe wàhálà kémi náà tó wọlé ní 25 years ago. Èyí ló pé 25 tí mo wọ̀ lóyè. September 21st 1998 Gatwick Airport. Ṣe máa ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìyá mi. So ẹ̀rí pé reason tí mo ṣe láti máa kí ní gbogbo ìgbà. Torí pé báyìí kémi náà wá Nàìjíríà ni èmi náà lè ti lọ di oyè yín, but a dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká wá di bẹ́ẹ̀. Ṣọ̀yìn àwọn ọmọ wa tó ń ṣe cultism abẹ̀yìn court ń ṣe tó wà òkè. I understand pressure wà nílé, ẹ fẹ́ di musician, ẹ fẹ́ kẹ́ blow, ẹ fẹ́ kẹ́ wà òkè, but kẹ́ wá lọ máa initiate ara yín, kẹ́ lọ máa mẹ̀jẹ̀, kẹ́ lọ máa ṣe awo, ṣe gbogbo nonsense yẹn. I don't know. So ẹ jẹ́ kí n lọ so that I need more time, láti sọ ọ̀rọ̀ tó pọ̀. Mo fẹ́ focus lórí, living outside. What does it mean? I have lived here for 25 years. Mo dúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́run. Èmi gúgú àtàlàáfíà. Lówó, ẹ fún wa lówó. Ìyẹn la ṣe ń sọ pé ẹ support media wa. Ẹ fún wa lówó, ẹ fún wa náírà, ẹ fún wa ní pounds, ẹ dẹ̀ fún wa ní prayer. Ẹ fi tó kù sílẹ̀. Tó bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ṣe gba blood test yìí, ohun èmi náà kíwọ náà ní Ogun State, ní Kwara, ní Ondo, ní Ọ̀ṣun, ní Ọ̀yọ́, ní Lagos, ní Kogi. Ohun mi pé kíwọ náà lọ sínú hospital kó lọ ṣe blood test, kó wo ohun tó ń ṣe ẹ́ àti tó ṣe ẹ́. Ìtàn pè ní MOT. Ìyá mi bí sí ni my family just lost a good friend after paying 1 million naira in a private hospital. He was even asked to pay 1.5. Ikú máa wáyé lóòótọ́, but we must do everything to avoid it. So Ọlọ́run bá wa pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa, Ọlọ́run wà pẹ̀lú bàbá Akíntóyè, Ọlọ́run wà pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa pátápátá. Mo kí grandma Adé Awóníyì, mo kí gbogbo ìyá wa, ìyá mi Comfort Ológunjà. Thank you so much. So today, I'm a jáde later. Let's move further because I have other engagement to do right now. Love you all so much. Yoruba Nation, no going back. We are not here to attack Tinubu, but we are telling him all the time, he has a limited time. Work for the dissolution of Nigeria. If that's not what you're working for, whatever you are going to do is a waste of time. That's all. So, every time. The mortgage relief for millions as Bank of England pause interest rate. Adúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́run. Gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ ní mortgage, wọ́n nígbà lọ́wọ́ yín o. The worst situation ni pé kíyàn ti ní ilé kó náà ti ra lé. Bí a torí pé o lose iṣẹ́, o lè sick, anything can happen. O wá rí mortgage san. Tó bá ti rí san after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Àwọn tó ní mortgage máa gbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó gbalé lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ ní mortgage o. Àwa táyì rẹ̀ tí ní náà, kọ́lọ́run jẹ́ káwa náà lè ra ilé sí ìlú yìí. Gbogbo owó tó yẹ ká fi ra ilé sí ìlú àti sẹ́ndẹ̀ sí Nàìjíríà. Tinubu, èmi ò wá lé nísìnyí o. bí àwọn APC campaign mo rí wọn gbogbo ní Chatham House bí àwọn yẹn lọ máa lọlé tẹ́yìn bá ti lọlé tẹ́ bá ti rí bí Tinubu ṣe sí lẹ́yìn ọdún mẹ́rin bí àwa ṣe máa plan láti wá ẹni tó bá dẹ̀ fi lọlé ìwọ náà bá ń fi sínú comment section pé Koiki mi lọlé ní Tinubu ti ní ká máa bọ̀ nílé ní kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí Ọlọ́run bẹ̀ Elédùmarè wà pẹ̀lú wa ẹ má fàdúrà sílẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ wa nílùú iná wọ́n tọwọ́ bọ oríṣiríṣi ìkan lọ ti sentence fún 8 years wọ́n ń ta cocaine ọmọ Yorùbá ní kọ́lọ̀ wà pẹ̀lú family gbogbo wa tàwa níbà yo let's keep an eye on our children we're not here to bring him down but news ni àwọn àtàbádà ń ṣe media kò sí news tá lè sọ so òun lélẹ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ni so 26 years old wọ́n ti sentence ẹ̀ sí 8 years so thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Bye for now. KOIKIMEDIA, bringing the world closer to your doorsteps.